This is Part 3, Episode 158. The main man of the ceremony was Luo Feng. As it went on, Luo Feng lifted his wine glass and chatted with many of the Undyings. The group of Undyings all didn't dare underestimate this punk. After all, just his power alone was enough to affect all of them. The ceremony finally ended. However, Silver Snow had yet to receive a reply from Fantasy Spirit. Jade Dome Planet, Luo Residence. The true upper echelon of the Ganwu universe country had all left in their universe ships. Even the three tycoons Purple Lightning, Gold Feather and Black Yang official had left. Night. With the guests all gone, Luo Feng walked alone in the quiet and spacious palace hallways. Big brother. Luo Feng spotted the black-robed Hong silently sitting in the grass patch. Luo Feng was like a breeze moving through the railing, quickly reaching Hong's side. Hong turned to Luo Feng and said, "Sit." Still troubled. Luo Feng sat and smiled. Not troubled, just waiting. Hong turned and smiled at him. Waiting for the opportunity to come. No matter what, at least tonight I found out why Silver Snow official stopped me and Ji Qing. After knowing the reason clearly, only then can I think of solutions to solve the problem. You seem very confident. Luo Feng smiled. Not one bit, only, there are some things that one must do. Hong laughed, after trying one's best, only then would there be no regrets. Even if I cannot do it now, when I get stronger in the future, even stronger than Fantasy Spirit Emperor, I'll then bring Qing Qing back myself. Luo Feng looked shocked at his big brother. Stronger than Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Was he simply bragging, or just very confident? Fantasy Spirit Emperor, that was absolute a pinnacle being that stood at the top of the universe. With just a wave of her hand, she could kill trillions, making an entire group of Undyings fall under her hypnotism and die within. With no boundaries within, the future becomes limitless. Hong looked at Luo Feng. Third brother, don't have any fear within. If you let yourself feel certain things are extremely hard to pass, how would you be able to do it in reality? Luo Feng was stunned. With no boundaries within, the future becomes limitless. No matter how powerful a being is, they all took steps to get there. Hong laughed. As long as you keep improving, and with an endless lifespan, then, becoming a great being in the universe isn't impossible. Luo Feng nodded. Suddenly he paused for a moment. He quickly connected to the virtual universe network, and instantly returned. Big brother. A smile showed on Luo Feng's face. HM. Hong looked at Luo Feng and smiled, looking at your expression, it must be good news. HM. I just received Silver Snow official's mail. Luo Feng smiled. Silver Snow's. Hong's eyes gleamed. HM, he forwarded Fantasy Spirit Emperor's reply. Luo Feng smiled. She's agreed. Hong's eyes gleamed with visible light. Luo Feng smiled and nodded, right. Fantasy Spirit Emperor will send members under her to head to Black Dragon Mountain's 9-star bay, who will then bring us to meet her in her palace. Luo Feng said, hence from now on, we have to constantly maintain a thread of our consciousness in the virtual universe network to await the order and meeting. Hong nodded. Virtual universe, Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-star bay. Luo Feng and Hong looked at the man before them. This man was 3 m tall, with a couple of black feathered wings on his back, and on his forehead were 10 horns that were different in lengths. He wore black armor and he smiled as he looked at Luo Feng, True Yang Emperor's disciple Luo Feng. How do you do? I am Fantasy Spirit Emperor's disciple Bushla. How do you do, Bushla? Luo Feng nodded. This is the punk that wants to marry my junior. The black-feathered man glanced at Hong. His lips curling into a smile, almost somewhat disdainful. Hong wanted to answer, but he quickly turned back to Luo Feng. Let's go, teacher is waiting for you too. All right. Luo Feng nodded and immediately, the 3 of them followed the man and swiftly left 9-star bay, reaching a teleportation region not far from there and transferred. Luo Feng, Hong and the black-feathered man Bushla appeared within a vast palace plaza. Rumble. The waves crashed against the shore. The entire palace was 100,000 kilometers tall, and was split into 9 levels. The lowest level was closest to the ocean, and the plaza Luo Feng the others appeared in was the 5th level's plaza. Follow me. The black-feathered man led the way. Entering deep within the palace, they proceeded. Even Hong was a universe level. Hence, The speed at which they moved was extremely fast. In just a few moments, they reached the 7th level. This was a quiet hall. At the entrance stood many ladies dressed in mist-like white robes, with furry tails waving from behind them. These ladies all had purple eyes that were extremely enticing, and when they looked over, it made others feel their desires within. With the black-feathered man leading, Luo Feng and Hong entered the hall. They continued forward. The women that stood on the sides, from the initial white-robed ladies, all changed to black-robed ones. However, it was obvious they were all from the same race with purple eyes and furry tails. After another 1,000 kilometers, they became purple-robed women. What mysterious illusions! Luo Feng walked within the huge hall and looked at the women standing at the sides. He unconsciously fell into the illusion, feeling as though the ladies all became naked as they exuded their mysterious seduction, and drew closer to him. Luo Feng and Hong were both people who had reached high levels in mental state training. Hence, illusions that weren't deliberately targeted at them completely had no effect whatsoever. Teacher. The black-feathered man bowed respectfully, his voice resounding throughout the large hall, echoing continuously. Luo Feng and Hong stopped simultaneously. They looked up and saw in the distance a huge throne with incredibly complex engravings all over. In it lay a curled-up woman with purple long hair, purple eyes and long bushy tail. When the pair of eyes looked down, the surrounding sky and land almost felt like it was engulfed in a powerful energy. Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Luo Feng held his breath. Having heard of her power before, Luo Feng didn't dare hesitate. Luo Feng. A gentle voice resounded from the distant throne high above. Indeed, a genius that actually passed the Fantasy Ocean's 10th island during universe level. Such solid mental state. I like you punks with such solid mental states. Your teacher Tru Yang has such good foresight too. He nurtured Bloodthirst Emperor before, and from your information, you kill very madly too. The Tru Yang lineage are all like that. The teacher kills madly, even the disciples are as such. Thank you for the compliment. Luo Feng bowed. His teacher Tru Yang did indeed have time where he madly killed others. Only now was he much more low profile compared to the past, staying and studying within Primal Chaos City. Otherwise, with just the level of explosiveness alone, his teacher wasn't below his 3rd senior Bloodthirst Emperor. HM. The great being from the Spirit Devil clan lay lazily in the huge throne. Her purple eyes gazed at Hong. You are the Hong that Ching Ching had mentioned. Yes. Hong bowed and replied. You do have some guts to come and meet me. Fantasy Spirit Emperor looked down at Hong from her huge throne above. Smiling and saying softly, aren't you afraid I might just order someone to kill you in reality? With her power, just one order alone. There would definitely be many undyings in the Ganwu universe country fighting to kill Hong. I am afraid indeed. Hong said respectfully. Ha ha, so you do know fear too. Fantasy Spirit's voice was like the most beautiful instrument in the world, giving the most exceptional performance. It enticed anyone who listened. You are afraid, and yet you still came. I'm afraid of death, and afraid of not being able to do many of my wishes. Hong said respectfully. However, there are certain things that I cannot back down from just because of fear. Ching Ching honestly treats me well. How can I be a coward and be afraid of death? No matter what. I have to do all I can in every way, even if I'm killed or destroyed, I won't regret it. Fantasy Spirit looked at Hong carefully from the throne, gasping with shock. Afraid of death, but you still must live without regrets. Fantasy Spirit looked at the silhouette below, her gaze becoming somewhat dreamy as she muttered. Dying and getting your soul destroyed is frightening. However, to still go on and do things without regrets. Her voice resounded 10 around her, no one else within the hall could hear her. If only he could be like this back then. Her expression became dreamy. Her eyes were gentle, but occasionally they looked very terrifying too. Rumble. The entire hall shook violently, countless peculiar noises resounded within everyone's ears. It made Luo Feng, Hong and the group of robed women change their expressions. Fantasy Spirit Emperor regained her composure. The sounds disappeared and she gazed at Hong from high above in her throne. Hong, I'll give you one chance, a chance to gamble your life. Luo Feng's expression changed. Gamble his life? Please explain, Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Hong bowed. It's very simple. Fantasy Spirit smiled. I'll give you 2 choices. 1. Wait until you reach the pinnacle of Sector Lord and go take part in the war in the outer regions. If your contributions are enough to get you a first-class medal, I won't stop you and ching ching. Simultaneously, I guarantee I won't expel her. The second choice is to attempt my 18 levels of love illusions. If you successfully pass all 18 levels, I will not stop you and ching ching, and will guarantee that I won't expel her. However, the moment you fail, then I will order for the Universe Mercenary Alliance to send powerful warriors to kill you immediately. Fantasy Spirit Emperor's eyes stared at Hong. This is a gamble of your life. If you fail, you will die. If you succeed, you'll have a chance to be with Ching Ching. Be it a loving one, breaking up, marriage, I won't care. Choosing the first option means you'll have from now to the time you reach the pinnacle of Sector Lord to train. I will guarantee too, you'll have that amount of time to train. Choosing the second option means you'll immediately attempt the 18 levels of love illusion. Fantasy Spirit looked at Hong. Do you dare to gamble with your life? The atmosphere was tense. The entire hall was silent, including her disciple the black-feathered man. Even he did not make a sound. He and the robed women could all feel, Fantasy Spirit Emperor wasn't her usual self. Big brother. Luo Feng looked at Hong. Gamble with his life. Was this a joke? If Hong really accepted the gamble, and was chased by the Universe Mercenary Alliance people, even True Yang Emperor wouldn't have any right to go stop them. I choose the second option. Hong looked up at Fantasy Spirit Emperor in her throne. Attempting the 18 levels of love illusions, if I fail, you don't have to send people to kill me. I will immediately head to a branch of the Universe Mercenary Alliance, and kill myself before the members stationed there. Also, I will have the entire scene broadcasted live to you, Lord Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Fantasy Spirit Emperor squinted in her throne. You are sure you want to attempt the 18 levels of love illusions, she said. If you choose to take part in the wars at Sector Lord Pinnacle level, you can still live for a very long time, and I can even help you reach that level. I'll ask you one more time, will you change your decision? No. A smile appeared on Hong's face. Luo Feng looked at Hong beside him, looking at the smile on his face. That was a smile that represented his will to do anything and everything he could. Big brother. Luo Feng was truly worried now. Yes. His big brother's mental state training was indeed extremely high, akin to a sacred legend of very few from ancient times of Earth. However, these illusions weren't that of Fantasy Island, but from Fantasy Spirit Emperor, a being incredibly strong and close to his own teacher, True Yang Emperor's level of strength. They may contain some pressure that could make him crumble. Fantasy Spirit Emperor stood up and looked at Hong below. Looking at his eyes, Hong's eyes didn't have any sense of hesitation, neither did they have the teeth-gritting madness. All they expressed were a solid determination and incisiveness. Very good. She ordered. Bushla, bring Hong to the Illusion Palace. Immediately bring him to the 101st level. Fantasy Spirit Emperor vanished immediately. Yes, teacher. The black-feathered man Bushla replied respectfully and bowed, after which he glanced coldly at Hong and said, "Follow me." Fantasy Spirit Palace erupted. A universe-level punk actually wanted to attempt the 18 levels of love illusions. The moment he failed he would be killed and his soul destroyed. Immediately many people, all about the palace, swiftly rushed over towards the Illusion Palace. Your Majesty Ching, that Hong has chosen to gamble his life and attempt the 18 levels of love illusions. If he succeeds, Fantasy Spirit Emperor will not stop your relationship with him and won't expel you. However, the moment he fails, he'll have to be killed in reality. Within a quiet pavilion, there stood two young ladies, of which a green-robed lady said softly. Inside the pavilion, a short-haired lady stood at the door. Her slender fingers were gripped so tightly they had gone pale. I'm leaving. The short-haired lady said softly. Your Majesty Ching, Fantasy Spirit Emperor has ordered this, and no one dares to go against it. I can report everything that happens there to you here. Please do not make our lives harder. The green-robed lady said. The short-haired lady's eyes gleamed fiercely. GYA. The door closed. This pavilion was an anchor point for when she entered the virtual universe. As long as she entered the network, she would appear here. And now, she was trapped there and couldn't go out. In reality, she was also stuck within her head ancestor Silver Snow official's god country. Big brother Hong. The short-haired lady walked to the windows and opened them. She didn't escape. There at the entrance were two Devil and Spirit Clan ladies with Sector Lord level power. They were there specially to guard her, and she was only at the universe level. If the other two ladies didn't go easy on her, how would she escape? Don't do stupid things. 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 The short-haired lady sent mail after mail to Hong. After a while. No problem, wait for me. Hong replied. She was silent. Big brother Hong, I. The short-haired lady lifted her head and looked through the window, gazing at the distant place that pierced through the clouds. That was the fantasy palace amidst the many other palaces about. Life. You have to live. Many people had gathered within the fantasy palace, like the clansmen of the Devil and Spirit clan, along with several other disciples of Fantasy Spirit Emperor. I dare say that punk will definitely die. How can he succeed the 18 levels of love illusions? No matter how powerful that universe-level punk is, he still wouldn't be able to succeed. It's a death road. Look, that's the punk attempting the 18 levels. Who? That silver-armored one. No, the silver-armored one is the absolute genius Luo Feng of the Virtual Universe Company. However, the black-robed one is the one who is attempting. Wow, that's Luo Feng. So handsome. Don't be smitten. I feel that Hong's pretty handsome too, what a pity he has to die. Luo Feng and Hong followed the black-feathered man Bushler through the walkways. Looking around, into the distance, they could see large numbers of purple-eyed ladies. 99% of Fantasy Spirit Palace was made up of women, and these ladies all seemed to be from the spirits and devil's ladies. They were all incredibly beautiful, seductive. Big brother, your mental state is extremely high. However, these illusions are illusions from Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Luo Feng communicated anxiously. You are strong, but you cannot underestimate the absolute beings of the universe. The moment you fail, you'll die without a doubt, and there could be pressure within the illusions too. You may get pressured and killed within. Who knows what power lays within these 18 levels of love illusions? Even the pressure is extremely strong. Wouldn't you not even have a place to cry? An absolute being who knew how to control his strength according to the severity of the situation, may adjust his power according to Hong and use different levels of strength. However, Fantasy Spirit Emperor's temperament was well reputed to be strange. She obviously didn't allow many men to touch her, yet she was seductive. She had an explosive and terrible temper, yet she always pretended to be gentle. Who would know if she'd set up her illusions to be an absolute death trap? If she really wanted Hong to die, would Hong even have a chance to succeed? Hong glanced at Luo Feng, no problem. A silhouette appeared at the entrance of the 101st level of the palace. It was of a lady completely covered in a dreamy colorful robe. One could only see her purple eyes, her face was unclear. Immediately there was silence about. The ladies and few disciples that went to watch the scene all respectfully went silent. You still have one chance to back off now. Fantasy Spirit Emperor looked at the distant Hong. If you wish to retreat, I may look down on you, but at least, you keep your life. If you don't retreat, then follow this door and head in. Fantasy Spirit Emperor pointed to the door beside her. This is the 101st level of the palace. Every level is a level of the love illusions. When you pass one level, just head towards the stairs and proceed. After you enter 102nd level, if you succeed, head to the stairs and continue to the 103rd level, keep heading up. If you successfully exit from the 118th level, you finished it. Otherwise, your life will be gone. Fantasy Spirit Emperor looked at Hong. Hong smiled. Big brother. Luo Feng's face was filled worry, yet he didn't know how to convince him. Hong was just like that. Even if 1 trillion people all tried to persuade him, it wouldn't even shake his resolve. Hong smiled and glanced at Luo Feng before heading straight for the door. He entered the door and with a step, disappeared through it. Rumble. The entire 101st level of the palace immediately became a blur. One couldn't see clearly what was going on within. At this time, Hong already had no way to return. If he succeeded, he would live. Failure would mean death. This majestic palace pierced through the clouds in the sky. If it was on Earth, Luo Feng would be able to see half of Earth simply by standing in it. However, he was still unable to see the entire construct of this palace, Illusion Palace. Mystical energies engulfed the entire palace. It was a blur within the 101st level of the palace. Luo Feng stared hard through it trying to see Hong's situation, within the illusion, however it was to no avail. It wasn't just Luo Feng, even the Devil and Spirit Clan women and the disciples of Fantasy Spirit Emperor all wanted to know if Hong could pass the 18 levels of love illusions. Rumble. The 101st level of the palace shook, and everything became clear within. In the center, Hong smiled and looked at the distant stairs, flying straight towards it and swiftly following it up, heading to level 102. He's passed the first level. Luo Feng breathed a sigh of relief. He flew swiftly through the stairs and quickly reached the 102nd level. Fantasy Spirit Emperor walked ahead, Luo Feng and the black-feathered man along with the other disciples all followed closely behind. After them, the large group of devils and spirits women followed. The second level, the third level, Hong took longer and longer to finish them. What now? Luo Feng followed the stairs up another level to the fourth level, feeling anxious. These were after all illusions set up by Fantasy Spirit Emperor, and his big brother was only universe level. He could easily lose his life if he got careless. If he really failed, will I simply watch him go to a universe mercenary alliance base and commit suicide? However, I couldn't convince Big Brother not to do it, and this was his gamble with Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Even his teacher wouldn't be able to budge in. Luo Feng was very worried. He couldn't help but only watch as things unfolded. Strength. This was all due to strength. If he had the power of a universe country leader, he could completely pressure Fantasy Spirit Emperor. It wouldn't be so troublesome. And he was only a small genius now, nothing but a small kid before Fantasy Spirit Emperor, one that wasn't fully matured at all. Your big brother's willpower is very strong. He's actually able to pass 5 levels of the love illusions. Outside the 105th level doors, the colorfully dressed Fantasy Spirit Emperor laughed softly. Elder Fantasy Spirit Emperor, please show mercy. Luo Feng bowed and requested respectfully beside. You don't need to beg me. Her moving and beautiful purple eyes glanced at Luo Feng. I'm only letting him attempt the 18 levels. It tests the desires of love, as long as he truly isn't affected at all by the enticement of love and desires, looking at pure love only for itself, then he has a hope of living on. Desires? Luo Feng frowned. Humans? Fantasy Spirit Emperor laughed softly, or in general, life. As long as it's a life form, then there'll definitely be desire. Wanting to become an eternal being. To stand high above and control over trillions of beings. To have a beautiful wife. To have family live a better life. To make it big. To become a true powerful warrior. Fantasy Spirit Emperor laughed. These are all different forms of desires. Desires. They are the reason behind life and its evolution. She smiled. Even the most pure-hearted person will have desires, only their desires are different from others, as they will be more special. Luo Feng was stunned. Desires. Right? Whether it was a warrior wanting to get stronger, training paths, pleasures of life, etc., in summary, as long as humanity was there, there would definitely be desires. Even wild beasts, they all had their innate desires, like mating, having more partners, eating better and better. Desires are endless. Fantasy Spirit spoke softly. By itself it is not evil, only life, when controlled by it, makes them differ. The desires of love is just one form of it, and it is of a very, very complex type. Even an extremely powerful undying may not see through them. She laughed softly. The 18 levels of love illusions I've set up give the endless taste of love desires, even a god would fall from it. And him. Since he's so deep in love, then the love desires, to him, should be an extremely hard thing to pass. She smiled and said, only after passing the 18 levels of the love illusions will he have the right to be with my disciple. Luo Feng took a chilly breath and looked shocked at Fantasy Spirit Emperor, who was so beautiful she could cause the downfall of an entire kingdom. Desire. As one who constantly took advice on mental state training from his first and second brother, Luo Feng was very clear on the difficulty of explaining desire. The ancient texts of Earth said that even heroes had difficulty with beautiful women. Even the greatest sacred beings had all sorts of desires. For example, ruling a country, these dreams were in essence different forms of desires. To be above them. That was impossible. No wonder, even though Fantasy Spirit Emperor only passed the 19th level of the Heavenly Bridge, she still has such terrifying power, and is able to stand beside my teacher, True Yang Emperor, and Sky Feather Emperor. Luo Feng thought. And it's also no wonder she can control 2 Emperor-level undying slaves. Fantasy Spirit Emperor Fantasy Spirit Emperor, indeed she's terrifying. Big brother. These 18 levels of illusions are all love-related illusions, can you pass them? Luo Feng stared at the mystical hall, feeling worried within. Even though he had confidence in his big brother, he didn't dare underestimate this great eternal being of the universe. Even though the mental state training of Earth was one that was worthy of pride even in the universe, however those beings that dominated the universe, powerful beings that have lived for countless years, with some even building universe countries, beings that dominated those levels, who would dare say that their mental state training was weaker than Luo Feng, Thunder God or Hong's? They couldn't be underestimated. 30. How's everything going with you and Hong there? A mail appeared on the screen of Luo Feng's wrist. It was from Thunder God. He was naturally informed of their meeting with Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Second brother. Luo Feng's consciousness read the words and a words of reply quickly appeared, forming a mail and sending back to Thunder God. 18 levels of love illusion. Big brother's mental state training is extremely high. He definitely will be able to pass it. I'm very confident about that. Thunder God replied. Second brother, these are 18 levels of love illusions set by Fantasy Spirit Emperor, an extremely terrifying being of the universe. The amount of years she's lived far exceeds the ancient Chinese cultures. She cannot be underestimated. Luo Feng replied. Which level is Big Brother at now? The 9th. And is taking longer and longer to pass each level. Luo Feng swiftly conversed with Thunder God, while anxiously watching his big brother pass the levels. Time passed, Fantasy Spirit Emperor and her disciples, along with the large group of devils and spirits women all felt the pressure. They followed Fantasy Spirit up level after level, watching the process of Hong passing the levels. 18 levels of love illusions, the first level was the fastest, it got slower as he progressed. At the 10th level. 11th level. 12th level. Hong was taking longer and finding it harder to break through the illusions. However, he was still as sturdy every time. This big brother, he must definitely succeed, he must. Luo Feng, who had been watching every level anxiously hoped within. He actually reached the 14th level. This big brother of Luo Feng is pretty impressive. To actually reach the 14th level, it shows that his willpower is extremely strong. Unbelievable. Didn't expect this. The women of the Devils and Spirits clan all muttered among themselves. And while Fantasy Spirit Emperor was initially very calm, she frowned after Hong passed the 14th level. I simply don't believe that a love-stricken man like him can pass the 18 levels. Fantasy Spirit's eyes were like electricity, her expression heavy as she stared at the 105th level. Within that quiet pavilion, the short-haired girl stood silently at the window staring at the direction of the illusion palace. From her field of vision, the tower pierced through the clouds, and it was impossible to see that high through them. Your Majesty Qing, that Hong has already passed the 15th level. He's successfully passed the 15th level. The two Devils and Spirits clan women shouted at the entrance of the pavilion. The short-haired girl looked up quietly, her eyes filled with worry and anxiety. She muttered, Big Brother Hong, you definitely must succeed, definitely. You definitely must succeed. Luo Feng stared hard at the 117th hall. The short-haired girl stood silently at the window staring at the direction of the illusion palace. From her field of vision, the tower pierced through the clouds, and it was impossible to see that high through them. Your Majesty Qing, that Hong has already passed the 15th level. He's successfully passed the 15th level. The two Devils and Spirits clan women shouted at the entrance of the pavilion. The short-haired girl looked up quietly, her eyes filled with worry and anxiety. She muttered, Big Brother Hong, you definitely must succeed, definitely. You definitely must succeed. Luo Feng stared hard at the 117th hall. The large group of Devils and Spirits clan women gathered in the 117th level had all held their breaths. Even Fantasy Spirit Emperor's expression had totally sunken, her eyes blinking over and over as she stared. Everyone felt the pressure got stronger and stronger. As the further they got, the harder and more absurd the difficulty of the love illusions. After a while, rumble. The blur that shrouded the 117th level broke apart, and a pale expression's black-haired man Hong appeared. One last level. Hong looked up. Not even glancing at the crowd around him, he headed straight for the stairs and towards the last level, the 118th level of the palace, attempting the 18th level of the love illusions. He flowed like water and reached the 118th level entrance. You must definitely succeed, definitely. Luo Feng stared without blinking, perspiring from his forehead. Fantasy Spirit Emperor, who stood in front of him, stared hard too. She couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that the 18 levels of love illusions she had set up for people deep in love could be broken through, that a love-stricken man affected by love's desires could actually break through the 18 levels. Impossible. Her eyes gleamed coldly. Rumble. The 118th level shook violently and grew calm. A smiling but obviously fatigued black-haired and black-robed man walked out, stepping through the door and out into the hall. Elder Fantasy Spirit Emperor, I've successfully passed the 18 levels of the love illusions. The black-haired man said respectfully. In the spacious walkway outside the 118th level of the palace, which was 1 kilometer wide, there squeezed thousands to tens of thousands. They were all looking on in disbelief at the black-haired and robed man. They had spent years serving Fantasy Spirit Emperor and following by her side. They were all very clear on how terrifying she was. Almost no one believed that Hong could actually pass the 18 levels of love illusions. Fantasy Spirit herself couldn't believe it. Impossible. She stared at the man before her. Many thoughts were flashing in her mind, however she quickly regained her composure. I didn't expect a person willing to die for love would actually be able to pass the 18 levels. She looked at Hong and her eyes gleamed with a peculiar light. You've surprised me. There's nothing fearsome about love, indulge and enjoy it. Hong said. When one does so, the soul will produce an incredibly feeling, that's love. She looked at Hong and studied him. I now understand how you can make Ching Ching love you. She nodded and after which turned to face the black-feathered man, Bushla, bring Hong and Luo Feng to meet Ching Ching. Yes, teacher. The black-feathered man said respectfully. Fantasy Spirit Emperor turned and vanished into nothing. After she left, there was a huge hustle outside in the walkways. The surrounding incredibly beautiful devils and spirits women all spoke in hushed voices and pointed at Hong and Luo Feng. Discussions were rampant. It was almost as though they cared about Hong and Luo Feng and respected them. Please follow me. The black-feathered man smiled at Hong and Luo Feng. And congratulations on passing the 18 levels of love illusions. Probably no one there actually believed you'd succeed. The black-feathered man smiled. It was tough and I barely made it through. It is indeed very terrifying. Hong said. But of course, how could an illusion set by my teacher be weak? The black-feathered man led the way ahead, while Luo Feng and Hong walked side by side. Congratulations, big brother. Luo Feng communicated secretly. Smiling slyly, congrats to you and the missus for being together forever. Hee hee. Hong was all smiles. Big brother, how were the 18 levels of illusions? I was extremely worried. Luo Feng communicated. The illusions were powerful, but no threat to me at all. Hong replied. Shock flashed through Luo Feng's eyes. What, no threat at all? But, from what I saw, you got more and more fatigued through the levels and got slower too, like they were wearing you out, this. It was all an act. Hong glanced at Luo Feng and communicated. Fantasy Spirit Emperor was watching outside, and these 18 levels of illusions were what she set up. If I swiftly passed every level extremely easily, where would her reputation go? She is the great Fantasy Spirit Emperor. If her 18 levels of illusions were easily broken by a universe-level punk, that would such a disgrace. If I solved it too easily and humiliated her, she might have just changed it along the way as I attempted it. Hong communicated. If she truly wanted me to fail, it would be all too easy, like using a spirit attack, making me die within the illusion and failing. If she were to kill me secretly, who there could actually see through it? Even you, if you saw me die in the illusion, you'd have just thought I didn't pass the illusion, right? Hong looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng was stunned. Right? Hence, I had to go according to her mental state, making her feel as though I am about to fail, and that it was incredibly difficult, breaking through finally and fatigued. That way, my aim would be realized. Hong smiled at Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded. Indeed. From start to end, it was all an act and Hong's performance had made him feel incredibly nervous, as though Hong would fall anytime. Each level was getting harder than before, while the amount of time was longer and longer. So it was simply all an act. Having strength is important. However, using it accordingly would produce the best results. Hong communicated. However, big brother, these love illusions, Fantasy Spirit Emperor said it was the endless love desires etc. How could it be that easy for you? Luo Feng was curious as he asked. His big brother was obviously one who was deeply in love for Ji Qing, attempting the 18 levels without even knowing their full details. Such a person could actually pass them so easily. Love desires. They were after all a very complex desire. How many heroes and warriors have fallen deeply in love? Our Chinese have such a saying, if one sees a mountain as a mountain, or water as water, then it is so. If they don't see it that way, then it isn't. However, afterwards, it returns to its original state. Hong communicated. A person who hasn't ever experienced love will naturally assume love is just love. However, to one who's experienced it, only then would he know how incomparably complex it is. It was almost like looking at a flower through mist, extremely dreamy and mystical. In their eyes, love is incredibly complex, because the many feelings would surface from love, making them think it's complex. At this time, the mountain and water would no longer seem like just so. Only through experiencing the human world and studying the heart, seeing clearly through relationships and feelings, would one finally see through love's true face. That would be returning to its original state. Knowing one's extent of love, seeing it extremely clearly, seeing its essence, what one wants, what one is willing to die for. One won't be affected by all these, after understanding oneself truly. Hong looked at Luo Feng, smiling as he communicated. At this time, the mountain returns to being a mountain. The water is as so. Love, to a person of this level, is already clear. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. He understood a little within. It isn't such that a person deep in love cannot break through. Hong smiled, who knows if the fish are truly happy? A person who truly sees love as is will know, immersing oneself within, is the true path. And cutting it off is actually going against instinct. Hong said. Everything I've done follows my instinct and nature. What I should do, what I shouldn't, doing some things even though I know there's life-threatening dangers. Luo Feng nodded. While communicating with his big brother, they walked behind Bushla and headed towards Ji Qing's residence. A colorfully dressed fantasy spirit emperor appeared before the quiet pavilion. Lord. The two devils and spirits clan women were shocked as they quickly bowed respectfully. She pushed open the door and entered the pavilion. The short-haired girl, who was originally looking through the window within, turned towards the entrance. Looking at fantasy spirit emperor, she bowed respectfully. Teacher. You should have received the news about that young Hong passing my 18 levels of love illusions. Fantasy spirit looked at her disciple Ji Qing. Ji Qing was an exceptional disciple. She was the most exceptional out of all of the other disciples, and Fantasy Spirit liked her honestly. Yes, Qing knows. Thank you, teacher, for showing mercy. Ji Qing bowed with gratitude. Fantasy Spirit snorted coldly, and sat in the chair beside her. Looking at Ji Qing. Qing, I didn't show him any mercy, only the Hong that you like. He indeed exceeded my expectations. He actually managed to pass all 18 levels of the love illusions. The short-haired girl couldn't help but blush as she heard, displaying a sense of pride. As I said before, the moment he passes the 18 levels, I won't stop the both of you, and I won't expel you either. Whether you two love forever or break up, or anything else, I won't intervene. Fantasy Spirit looked at the short-haired girl. Qing, thanks, teacher. The short-haired girl's eyes gleamed. However, there are some things I have to tell you first. Fantasy Spirit Emperor pointed in mid-air and a screen appeared, and on it a book was displayed. This is my. They chatted for a while. And after that, footstep sounds and some muffled voices could be heard. In the distance, there could be seen a black-feathered man, Hong and Luo Feng, who walked right in front. Behind them were a large group of women, all from the Spirits and Devils clan, and it had obviously become quite bustling. Luo Feng, Hong, this is Ji Qing's quarters. The black-feathered man Bushla pointed ahead, at the quiet and beautiful pavilion. Hong's eyes gleamed and his gaze landed on that pavilion, as he walked over. Luo Feng and Bushla followed behind. Gya. The door creaked open and a short-haired girl walked out. Luo Feng looked at this girl. Even though he had seen her pictures from the information he gathered in the virtual universe, seeing her in person, Luo Feng felt that she was different from others. She was taller than normal and her figure was proportional and perfect. She had short hair and seemed valiant and formidable. Her expression was obviously that of a very firm and decisive, determined, a very strong girl. Simply put, she leaned more towards the strong woman. However, her gaze was like spring water. The moment she saw Hong, it seemed like she was about to cry. "You're so silly," the short-haired girl said softly at Hong. Hong only smiled. The girl rushed over and hugged Hong tightly. She couldn't help the tears that were flowing from her eyes. In the distance, the group of devils and spirits women were all smiling. Luo Feng smiled too at the scene. "Don't take such risks, it's not worth it." Ji Qing hugged Hong tightly. Hong gently stroked her hair, and the two stood apart, staring at each other. "Everything's past. The cloud that obstructs us is gone." Hong looked at Ji Qing and smiled. Ji Qing suddenly released Hong's hands and retreated. "Qing Qing." Hong frowned. "I'm sorry, it's not worth it." Ji Qing looked at Hong. "Leave. Just take it that I was but a memory." "Leave?" Hong's expression changed. The spectators watching the scene were all stunned. What's going on? Hong had used all means necessary to finally get Fantasy Spirit Emperor to not obstruct them, yet how could Ji Qing herself say such words now? "Qing Qing." Hong stared at her, through her gaze, as he could tell if she was hypnotized or there were any other soul techniques used. Hong looked at Ji Qing's eyes. The eyes were the windows to one's soul. The higher up one was in mental state training, the more observant and accurate they could see, completely seeing through every minuscule reactions with Ji Qing's eyes, whether she was hypnotized or controlled through soul techniques, etc. Or was she speaking from her heart? What's going on? Why is Her Majesty Qing saying this, and what does it mean? What other meaning is there? It's break up. Why is she suddenly breaking up? Didn't she completely refuse to give in before? Hence she was locked in the pavilion. Why has she changed her mind now? In the distance, the many devils and spirits clan women were all discussing. They were all very suspicious. It was supposedly a happy occasion, and yet now it was this. Hong looked silently at Ji Qing. Ji Qing looked at him too. From her eyes, Hong could tell that Ji Qing wasn't hypnotized in any way. "Why have you suddenly decided to leave me?" Hong looked at Ji Qing. "You told me before that there are certain things that we must do and others that we shouldn't. When one makes a decision, it has to be firm, sacrificing whatever that needs to be sacrificed." Ji Qing said softly, even though her voice was soft. However, even Luo Feng, who was standing behind Hong, could feel the resolve within her voice. "Hence you are sacrificing our relationship?" Hong asked. Ji Qing didn't say anything. She only gritted her teeth and nodded her head. "Sacrifice?" Hong stared at her and said solemnly, "Why didn't you say anything when your head ancestor stopped you, when your teacher stopped you? You even went against both of them. And now, after I got my brother to help me and finally met your teacher Fantasy Spirit Emperor, gambling with my life, attempting the 18 levels of love illusions. After successfully passing the 18 levels, I came over happy to meet you, yet you tell me this now. Why? Why the sudden change of heart? Why didn't you say anything before?" Hong stared at her. She was silent. Hong's rage was bubbling. Luo Feng, who stood beside, was also unsatisfied. How did this situation end up like this? This Ji Qing had strongly denied her ancestor and teacher, yet at the final moment she suddenly changed her mind. "Look, that Hong is about to flip. Anybody would flip. I heard the 18 levels of love illusions he attempted before. If he got careless, he would lose his life in reality. And now Her Majesty Qing is saying such words. How can he not rage? If it were me, I'd be raging too. How can she give up such a good man?" The devils and spirits clan women were all speculating and discussing the situation. Hong looked at Ji Qing. She lowered her head. "I have to make a choice. Love is important, but there are other things that are more important. This was what you told me too." Hong took a deep breath. "You've really made your decision?" Hong asked lightly. She nodded. Hong revealed a pained smile. Who would have thought that after so many years, I finally fell for another woman and it ends up like this? Ji Qing bit her lips. Even though she was a strong woman, and there were many things in the family that she was able to control and make decisions, she even regarded herself as stronger than her father, even against her undying seniors. She never cowered before them, however, towards the one man she respected. She still felt weak within. Ji Qing. Hong looked at Ji Qing. The short-haired girl lifted her head and looked at the man she loved. "I hope you realize your dreams." Hong smiled, and also, "Sorry for the time I bothered you." After which, Hong turned and walked towards Luo Feng. "Third brother, let's go." Hong looked at Luo Feng and said, after which with a poof, he vanished. Luo Feng watched the scene silently and looked at the short-haired girl in the distance fighting hard to hold back her tears. He sighed softly. Su. He too vanished and his consciousness returned to reality. Big brother Hong. Ji Qing watched as Hong turned and vanished, those last words ringing in her mind over and over. Sorry for the time I bothered you. Bothered me? What have you bothered me about? Ji Qing muttered within. She was very clear about Hong's character, what may seem like a simple line of apology, turning and leaving after, held within his pain. Also, she was clear that he would probably never ever look back. Because she understood him. Sorry. She muttered within. The Devil and Spirits clan women watching were all stunned. They all thought that Hong, who had gambled his life in the 18 levels of love illusions, would be engulfed in pain and rage, and thus express it. However, they never expected him to simply say sorry and leave. The member Undyings of the Virtual Universe Company were all in their palaces on Thunder Island. The Undyings, that were members of the Universe Mercenary Alliance, were all gathered in another spot too. Whatever happened in Fantasy Spirit Palace was fully discussed by all the staff and quickly spread. This punk is not bad, passing all 18 levels of love illusions set by Fantasy Spirit Emperor, at least is very strong in terms of love desires and illusions. I think he wouldn't be weak in the other sides too. And he's a special elite of our huge axe dojo. Quickly send someone to absorb him into the currently ongoing training faction. Yes, Lord. Ganwu Universe Country, one of the 9 first-class planets, Jade Dome Planet. Luo Residence. Luo Feng looked at Hong and sighed within, since 3 days ago, when what was supposed to be a perfect ending suddenly completely overturned. Back then Luo Feng had decided to tell Hong directly. I dare say she was initially strong-willed against her teacher, an ancestor, however she changed her mind suddenly at the very last minute. That's abnormal. If it wasn't Silver Snow official meddling in between, then it would have been Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Hong immediately replied, of course I understand that either Silver Snow or Fantasy Spirit had influenced her. However, big brother, why did you just leave then? Are you giving up so easily? Luo Feng asked. Others may influence her, but the final one making the decision is still Qing Qing. Hong laughed indifferently, and I'm very familiar with her character. She's like me, once she makes a decision, it's very hard to change it. And I could hear. It was a decision she had made from the bottom of her heart. Why? Luo Feng asked, why did she give up? Because of herself, or family? Hong sighed softly. I know her well, she's a very strong person, she has the dreams and determination to become an absolute warrior. She would never cower to the requirements and demands of love. Also, she's extremely loyal to continuing the family bloodline. Standing within the villa, Luo Feng looked at Hong, recalling their conversation 3 days again, he sighed. No matter, his big brother had been through a tragedy this time. Luo Feng, don't think it wasn't worth it. Hong smiled at Luo Feng, life comes with sadness and happiness. Also, after I succeeded the 18 love illusions, the upper echelon of the huge axe dojo noticed me and specially arranged for me to join the Special Elites training faction. If it wasn't a special order, I would have to wait a few decades to join that. Luo Feng nodded, take care. Don't worry. Hong smiled and nodded. Luo Feng, I'm leaving with my student. The white-haired old man Luo said. Luo Feng nodded. Then, Luo and Hong entered the round disc-shaped ship which was purple with gold mixed in, with a diameter of 620 m. This was a ship specially sent by the huge axe dojo to receive Hong. Big brother, make a name for yourself, let that Fantasy Spirit Emperor watch. Luo Feng shouted. Ha ha. The black-clothed Hong walked to the cabin door and turned, smiling, making a name for myself, I never doubted that. Third brother, you better not relax, otherwise I might catch up with you. If you have the ability, come. Luo Feng laughed. After which Hong laughed completely carefree, and entered the ship. This video will end here.